Hello and welcome to the AI Burden Center. I'm your host, Rebecca. Today we are talking about creating a skills inventory. Why would you need to do that? Well, if you are going to create an income outside of your 9 to 5 job, you are going to need to know what skills you possess. When you think about who is creating an income outside of their 9 to 5, this does not belong to a specific socioeconomic group. This does not belong to a certain demographic. We are looking at every salary range, every demographic you can think of, in every neighborhood across the entire United States. We are finding ourselves in a place where our paycheck is not filling all the needs that we have. And if it is, we're just barely getting through a month. And a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. We are waiting for that 2 week hit. And if something were to happen and that 2 week hit did not come into our bank account, there's going to be some issues. There's going to be some fallout, and the panic that sets in from that disruption can be very unsettling for a lot of people. So I see professionals all the time that are looking around and saying, what else can I do in order to create a secondary income? I've seen them turn to DoorDash. I've seen them turn to Uber. I've seen them turn to grocery shopping for someone else. There's all these things that our gig economy allows for, which is fantastic. But the challenge is it will keep you out of the rooms you actually wanna be in. All of those options require that you use your time outside of your household, and if the people that you love the most are inside the household and at home waiting for you to get home, now you've got a separation issue, and even though you are trying to do it for them, that separation and that time away from them just gets longer and longer every single day. And so, as a professional, when we look and see what other options are there, this is an area where traditional schooling has kind of failed us. It has not taught us how to build an income that is separate from our employer. So, today we are going to be talking about what it looks like to separate our skills from our job. So, the mindset is before you can build something, you have to know what you have to build with. So, let's start with a question that a lot of us get. Well, what do you do, Bill? Well, what do you do, Jamie? We have these questions about what it is we do. And we have been trained, our language is set up for us to say, I'm a project manager at so and so, or I'm a sales rep at so and so, or I run so and so company. We have learned how to speak about what we do in terms of what we do in our job. That's a very unnatural thing to say if you think about it. Our language model up until modern times has never been for us to reference a job as to what it is we do. That used to be, what do you contribute to society? And people could say, well, I do this for the community and I do that for the community. And this is how I barter or trade or exchange dollars for what I know how to do. But today, that language is what I want to start with. I want to start with the breaking down of the language when somebody says, well, what is it you do? Because that language is actually what's hiding our true skill set. It's the thing that keeps our skill set hidden right behind that layer of this is the role that I typically fill in my 9 to 5. And sometimes it stops right there. We don't actually finish that thought all the way through and separate our roles and titles and responsibilities from our actual skill set. So, in order to unearth what it is that we bring to the table and what our value is in society, we are going to work through what our skill set actually is. We're going to have an exercise toward the end that it's kind of take home homework for you to work on. But in the meantime, we're going to work our way through some of the thought process behind why we would need to develop a skill set. How do we go about doing that? And what does that actually look like? So, question number one, what do people come to you for? Do they come to you for help with sewing a seam? Do they come to you for baking cookies? Do they come to you for help with referrals? Do they come to you because you know how to organize? Why do people come to you? Um, this isn't your job description, mind you. Your job description is the box that your employer puts you in and says, these are the skills that I find valuable that I will pay you for on a biweekly basis or on a weekly basis or however frequently you get paid. That skill set is different from what you actually know how to do. So I want you to start breaking down this language barrier of here's what the job is and here's what I know how to do. When people come to you and ask you for your help, what is your response? Is it something that you're like, oh, yeah, I've got that taken care of. Oh, I can do that right away, or I can get that to you in just a few days. If you are thinking of those skills, those talents, those gifts, those abilities that allow you to fulfill a need rather quickly, some of those you've never been paid for in your life, but people know that they can come to you for those things. So start there. The next thing I want you to do is to think about that environment both inside of work and outside of work. You have colleagues that come specifically to you for reviewing a document, or maybe they're planning someone's birthday in the office, or they come to you because they've got a meeting coming up and they need to prep and they want you as their prep partner. Whatever it is, start figuring out, why do people come to me inside of work? These are two different things. They may come to you inside of work for a specific professional skill that you have, and maybe people come to you outside of work for skills that you don't get paid for in your job. Begin thinking, what are those skills that people come to you for? All right, the next thing you need to be thinking about, what did you figure out the hard way? What have you walked through or what have you experienced? What are the hard knocks that you've experienced? What have you gone through that other people are also very likely to go through? Now, this may not be a real fun part of the exercise, but I guarantee you these are the things that the market will find valuable. It's also the things that remain invisible for most people. Most people don't know all of the things that you've walked through, the trials that you've endured, or the things that you've overcome. But if you are going to create an income outside of your 9 to 5, those pieces, those very particular moments in your life may be the very things that allow you to take something to market that otherwise you wouldn't have discovered. So start thinking that through. What are some things and challenges that you have lived through that have strengthened you and positioned you for now you to be able to hand off some advice and some wisdom to someone else? What are some of the things that you've navigated well? Or have you navigated, bad bosses? Have you navigated uncertainty during, a natural disaster? What have you walked through that was very difficult that has allowed you to gain a skill set? We all have them, and those are the things I want you to think about. Next, I want you to consider this. The things that are going to be the most valuable to market are probably the things that are invisible right now. I'm going to say that again. The things that are the most valuable to the market may be the things that are invisible right now. Going back to this idea of language, you are going to have to name the things that you are good at. You are going to have to name the skill sets that you have that are uniquely yours. So think about that. Think about, what do people come to you for? What have you lived through that was difficult? And what are the things that are invisible to the rest of the world that may be valuable to the market? All right, next, I want you to separate what you are paid for from what you know. For some reason, I keep thinking of an auto mechanic, like, particularly my husband. He has a skill set that he is paid for, but most people don't know that he knows how to change some very complex car parts. When we were dating early in our relationship, He dismantled my entire drive shaft, everything behind the steering wheel, all the way down into some unknown part of my car. He replaced something, put it back together, and we had only been dating maybe a year. And I remember my dad calling, and I was telling him that I wasn't taking my car to the shop. I was actually going to let this new guy that I was dating handle the job. And he asked me, "Well, do you trust him?" And I kind of had to just say, "I think so." But that skill set, most people don't know that about my husband. He has never charged people to work on their cars or make any kind of repairs. He's never used that up as a profession, but it is a skill that he has. I think of like Marie Kondo. Here's this lady who knew how to organize to the craziest degree. She could fold clothes like nobody's business. She could arrange a household in this beautiful way, and she probably didn't realize that there was a market that would pay her for that skill set. So be thinking about what you have been paid for and then what you actually know how to do. They're not always the same thing, and you may uncover something that is actually marketable when you look at what you can bring outside of your 9 to 5. It's just really important. You got to remember that your employer captures the value of the skills that you brought into the workplace. They looked at your resume, your interview skills, they know what you can create that they need. So they capture the value of your skills and say, "I will pay you this much money for them." Do they know all of your skills? Do they capitalize on all of your skills? Do they pay you for everything that you actually bring to the table? Odds are no. They pay you for what they need you to do in the moment, and everything else is kind of a bonus. Like if you give them the skills that you have and you say, "I also know how to do this and make it look like that," that's fantastic. They will take everything that you bring to the table, harness it, and package it as their own. So I want you to think about what is it that you're doing in your job that actually is your skill. Here's a great example. If you are a project manager, you may say, "I manage cross functional teams." Boring. That doesn't mean anything to anybody outside of your job or outside of your workplace. That may mean something in the context of all the different departments that you coordinate. That may mean something in your bubble that you live in every day. But if you try to take that explanation outside of the workplace and tell someone that you manage cross functional teams, that lands flat. So, how do you actually need to separate the skill from the role that you play at for your employer? Well, try saying, "I take a chaotic situation with 12 different stakeholders and get them all moving in the same direction." Now, that is a skill. That is not your job description. That's not the way the role is described. That is actually a skill that is marketable. And that can apply to Little League, that can apply to coordinating volunteers, that can apply to small group, that can apply all over the place. So taking 12 people that are in a chaotic situation and getting them all bought in to start moving in the same direction, that is the skill that you need to separate out from what you actually do for your employer. All right, homework time. This is where it gets a little fun and it also becomes very personal for you. This is an exercise that you can do right away to start separating out your skill set that you describe with your job and your actual skill set that you haven't been paid for. So go get a piece of paper, draw a line right down the middle. On the left, I want you to write every skill that you have ever been paid for. Go back as far as you can remember having any sort of employment, and what did you do that somebody else paid you for? Could be a long list. Then on the right, I want you to write everything that you know how to do, but no one has ever paid you for. Start separating out how your skill sets fall and into what category. Don't spend a whole lot of time on this. I want you to think as fast as you can, 15 minutes. Do not edit. Do not worry about spelling mistakes and don't filter because no one else is going to see this. Go through this and just write like a mad person, getting all of this down on paper. All right. So you've done the exercise. Naming your skill is step one, but a skill by itself does not equal income. Next, we're going to talk about finding the people who will pay you for those skill sets you just identified. My name's Rebecca. I'm with the AI Burn Center. Our sole mission is to help people prepare for and recover from workplace disruption. So, in this video, we have been talking about what it looks like to create an income outside of your 9 to 5. And this is just one of those principles that most of the time it isn't taught when we go to school. Now is a good time to start learning it. These resources are free to you and will remain free because it serves society. It serves a bigger purpose and it serves a greater good than trying to make money off the courses. So I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next time as we talk about finding the market to sell your skills in.